Welcome to another episode of Amplify Live, brought to you by the Conscious Consumer Network, the show that amplifies the voice of the maker, the dreamer, the doer, and the entrepreneur, all who work hard to bring fair trade to their local community and beyond. I'm your host, Takia Thompson. Thank you for joining our show today. This is Amplify Live. So thank you all for joining us today, whether you're via Facebook or Zoom, however you're joining us today. Thank you so much. As always, this is going to be an exciting show. And I know I say that every time, but because every show is exciting to me. So this is just the way it is. But we are interviewing two incredible women from this global changing organization, Global Mamas. And I don't know if you know about Global Mamas or have had an opportunity to learn more about them, but if you haven't, today is your day. And you are going to get all the ins and the outs from just two incredible people. This fair trade organization, they are literally changing the way we do business. And I can't wait to share it all with you. I'm going to stop rambling because I want to get into the meat of everything with these two amazing women. But I will say this, if you have questions, and I feel that you will have lots of questions, feel free to put those questions into the Facebook chat. And what we will do is at the end, we'll have a little bit of time. Hopefully, we could be chatting until the cows come home, but we'll have a little bit of time and we will answer some of those questions for you. So welcome again to Amplify Live. And we want to introduce to you two amazing women from Global Mamas. First of all, we have the Director of Human Resources, Patience Asibu. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Perfect. People always mess my name up, so I want to make sure. And then we also have Creative Director Alice Brown. Did I say that right?
You did. Hi.
Perfect. And I just want to say, how cool is this? Because we have Patience and she's live from Ghana. This is like the best. Not that it's not cool to have you live from Michigan, Alice.
Ghana, yeah. Let's be in Ghana.
Yes, let's all just be in Ghana.
Yes.
So welcome, both of you. Thank you so much for just taking time out of your incredibly busy days and from family and vacations and all the things you're doing to be here today on Amplify Live. This is huge, and we are so grateful to have both of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yay. Well, I tell you what, this is your show. We are here to amplify your voice. We want to jump right in. We have a lot to cover in the next 45 minutes to an hour. And as I like to say, this show is about changing the world in that amount of time. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. But Patience, if I could start with you, because you have just such an amazing history, and I would love to know, for those who don't know about Global Mamas, can you tell us a bit about the history of Global Mamas? And then maybe we'll go back and forth between the two of you and talk about your specific roles within the organization. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Go.
Okay. So Global Mamas was started in 2003 with two Peace Corps volunteers and 6 African women. When they were in Ghana around 1992 to 1995, they met these amazing African women, and one of them said, hey, if you teach me how to manage my business, but you don't find market for my product, tomorrow I wouldn't be here. So it dawned on them to introduce women in progress. And then around 2006, the women came together and said, oh, we are already global, so why don't you call us Global Mamas? So we're listening, and then we registered the name Global Mamas. That is why we are operating with the name Global Mamas and not Women in Progress.
Okay, I wondered how that name came about. That's really cool. Oh, that's so cool. Wow. Okay, so what is your role? Because I mean, I know I said Director of Human Resources, but what is your specific role in working with the organization?
It's a lot, but I'll summarize it.
All the hats, all the things.
So I generally oversee the welfare of producers and staff across locations in Ghana. And then I also ensure that the company is in fair trade compliance, as well as dialogue for performance quality. So basically what I do for Global Mamas.
And we all know that that is way more than that, just little. But but on paper it looks like, oh, okay, that's it. But that's a big job. That's a huge job. So
Right.
that's really incredible. Alice, tell us all about your role with Global Mamas and your history with Global Mamas.
Yeah, so while Patience is one of the grandmoms, she's been with Global Mamas since its inception.
I love that, Grandma.
I get a little bit of an honorary title. So Patience has been, as she said, since about 2006 with the organization, and I came on in 2008 as a, well, Patience, wait, 2003, right? Is that when you started with Global Mamas? Yeah.
Yes.
And I came on in 2008 as a volunteer. We in non-COVID times have a pretty fantastic, a really fantastic volunteer program, an internship program in Ghana. And I came, and my background is in fashion design, and I joined the organization as a volunteer. I quit my job and came to learn from the mamas and share my knowledge. And I started, as I said, I did about a 4-month volunteer stint, and then stayed on to work with the organization in Ghana for another year. And in Cape Coast with Patience, and then moved back stateside and did marketing and sales, and helped launch our shea butter line, all things I know nothing about.
Oh, I love the shea butter line.
And so I did a little bit of that, and then worked my way back into, I was always helping with design, but then really got to work my way back into leading the design team 5-ish years ago, and have since been the creative director for about 3 or 4 years. I don't know how long anything's been anymore.
But when it's a good thing, that just happens.
Exactly. And so I've been doing it for about 12 years, and my role is, as we'll talk about later, we're a very collaborative organization. So as creative director, my job is really to kind of make sure that there's some consistency amongst all the collaboration when you've got ideas coming from so many people. Just kind of making sure that the vision is staying true, and the products that we're putting out are high quality and consistent with the brand, and just pulling all of those big ideas together. One way to put it.
I think that's so cool that you started as a volunteer. And really, a side note there, I just was curious, how did you hear about Global Mamas to volunteer?
Really random, but I was actually going to visit Ghana with a friend that I'd met in New York. She was leading she called it a cultural exchange experience. She's from...
We may have lost, but she'll come back to us.
Right.
We might have you paused, Alice. I tell you what, while we're working out technology, which is always our friend and sometimes not, we will hop back. And then when Alice hops back in, we'll get back on that so we can get a little bit more information there. But as Alice said, you are, which first of all, there's no way you look like anyone's grandma. So we're not going to go there. But I know that you've been with Global Mamas for quite some time. Patience, in your history with Global Mamas is huge. You have such a rich history with Global Mamas. What I would love to know is how you've seen the organization. I mean, you've been there since 2003. That's your base, pretty much the beginning. How have you seen the organization grow and change since you started?
Okay. Yeah, Global Mamas has really grown from the time that it was introduced. So 2003, we were only 6 African women, but now we are talking about 350 women across Ghana. And then products was only 5, but now we have over 200 products that the producers are producing for everybody across the world. We also have one location, just Cape Coast, but now with the growth that we are experiencing, we've launched out 9 more locations in Ghana. And then retail partners were only 2, but now we do have 300 retail partners. Countries represented were only 2 around 2003, but now we are counting for 20 more countries that our amazing Mamas products are being sold worldwide. Not only that, but our sales has also increased. We start with $22,000, but now we are counting for $1 million plus. Yes, that is so amazing.
That is huge. Okay, my mind is having it. And welcome back, Alice. Yay!
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Listen, I tell when we start the show, we know technology. Sometimes it's our friend, sometimes it's not, and we're just going to go with it. This is how we do it. Not a problem. We'll jump back to you. We were talking to Patience about just her history and how she's seen Global Mamas grow over time. And so you started with, and I wrote this down, make sure I got it right, 6 women, and now you have 350.
50, yes.
That is incredible. That is incredible. That is a testament to how your organization is and who you are as an organization and your perseverance as an organization. That is huge. And then to have it start with a few countries and now you're in all these countries and going from these small sales, which to me is not small at all, but to where you are now, that is incredible. And I can imagine you have watching this through time, you're just like, you're like your baby. You know, you've watched Global Mamas grow and just be, that's incredible. Wow. I love that. So, and I want to go back to that because as we talk about the products and things, we know that consumers, when they shop Global Mamas, they can actually connect directly to the mamas. And so I can't wait to touch on that a little bit. So, but Alice, I want to finish how you got started with Global Mamas. So you were on a trip with a friend and
So sorry about that.
It's okay.
The internet got a little choppy and my kids decided to handle it, which meant unplugging the internet. I'm back. But so yeah, very briefly, when I was preparing for this trip and researching Ghana and its textile history and the artisanal crafts of batik and sewing and everything, and if you have time, Ghana has a very rich history in this. So I encourage people to learn about it.
Absolutely.
But I just kept digging and digging, and I think somewhere in the rabbit hole landed on Global Mamas and was immediately I knew I had to be connected with these ladies and called the US office and said, hey, this is what I do. Can I come?
I love it. You're like,
And they said, sure. And so I don't know, about 2 months later, went into my VP's office and said, so I'm going to go do this thing. And I don't think I'm coming back. And so I quit my job in New York and went and volunteered with Global Mamas with zero expectations. I had no plan I didn't know what would happen afterwards, but was incredibly grateful to be offered the opportunity to keep working with the women in Cape Coast, especially who, I mean, they're family. I mean, Patience is my sister and we've grown together over the past 12 years and all of the staff that I used to work with there, many of them now run our other locations, and it's just, I'm so glad I made that pretty wild decision 12 years ago.
And I'm so glad we talked about that because we also, in amplifying the voices, but that's how it works, right? It's you have one person that speaks into you, or you have that one moment and you think, I'll try and see what happens, and look where it's brought you to this amazing role you have with Global Mamas. So
I doubt she's watching, but Reverend Victoria Afram Boyd, she moved back to Pecky permanently, but if you're watching, I love you and I'm so grateful for you.
Oh, well, listen, we're recording this, so we will just send it. We'll just send it. So that's not a problem. So I have you engaged, Alice. We were talking about the rich history that Patience has with Global Mamas, and she shared just the incredible structure. And I encourage you, as you're listening in, the viewers listening in and watching, go to the website. We'll plug the website, but go to the website so you can really learn all about Global Mamas, because it is just a wealth of information. But we were talking about how, as we're amplifying the voices, we do that with our business partners, our artisan partners. You talk about each other as family, which I love, but you are really changing the way this world sees business. You really are. And I know For some people, they may not know about you, but after this show, they will for sure. And with that said, if I could get you, Alice, to talk about your business model, because we touched on it a little bit, but how that is working extremely well, and sharing a little bit about how that process all works, because I'm fascinated by it.
It is. It's a little different from business as usual, right? Even within the fair trade model, how we function is a little bit different. A lot of times you have co-ops or groups in a country, and then you have, maybe designer or a brand in the US or UK or Canada that says, hey, okay, this is what we would like, or maybe they see what the co-op already does and buys that and sells it. Global Mamas, as Patience said, when we were founded, the organization was founded by 6 Ghanaian women and 2 American women who it was really about relationship and partnership. The American women had an idea of what that might look like, and the Ghanaian women said, nope, this is what we we don't need tech support and to learn how to run Excel. We need access to markets. Otherwise, our business has no purpose. And so from that foundation, again, of relationship and collaboration, that's really just been how Global Mamas has always existed. It's very much about everybody coming to the table. We don't, everyone's Global Mamas, even the producer partners who own their own business, which is the model that we started with. Our very first location, Cape Coast, is all individual entrepreneurs. Some of them are just one mama working at her patio with one sewing machine. Some are larger businesses where a woman employs 10 or 15 additional employees. It's however the woman wants to run her own business. And so those women then are individual business owners. They're running their business, and then we all come together under the umbrella of Global Mamas. It's a label that we all use very proudly, to walk around Cape Coast and say, I'm a Global Mama. We even have like some men associated with, we have a drumming class and things that the men will say, if they see, us, Global Papa, I'm a Global Papa.
I love that.
We have Global Papas and Global Mamas, and it's a badge of honor a bit. We're very proud of the name and the relationship that we've all built together. In Cape Coast, because it's our oldest, we have the largest community there. Patience, what's the count of mamas in Cape Coast today?
Can you hear Patience okay?
Oh, did we lose you?
Yes.
How many mamas are in Cape Coast right now?
Cape Coast, we have 58 mamas across Cape Coast location. And they are all...
Sorry, Patience.
Yeah, please come.
No, they are all what? Sorry.
They are all located in Cape Coast environs. And then they come to office and pick their orders, go to their various shops, work on them, bring them to office for quality control, and then they get paid shortly after they make delivery.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so we do have that model where we have, in Cape Coast, we have staff members that are in an office. They're paid a daily wage to be in the office and do quality control, production management. We have a small store there. So those are separate from the 50 mamas. So there's 50 mama artisan makers who own their own businesses and employ people. And then we also have the people directly employed by Global Mamas, and we're all Global Mamas. And so we have this whole chain. And so we, aside from growing the cotton and weaving it into fabric, which is done by a family fair trade business in India, that fabric is shipped over to us in Ghana, and we get the white fabric, but then the fabric is made, printed by the batikers, and then, as Patience said, brought to the QC team to be reviewed, and that's released to the seamstresses who sew it, and then brought back to QC. So everybody's involved, everybody's Global Mamas. And then when it comes to our other locations, we have another location where the artisan makers are in-house. So they come every day to an office, and they work in-house, again, batiking and sewing. And then another location in Akusi, where we have, or I'm sorry, that Akusi was the second one. The third one's Odomasi Krobo, where we have the bead makers who make the recycled glass beads.
Mm-hmm.
And those are business owners who, again, are out in the villages making the beads. And those are brought into our in-house team of artisans who do the stringing. So we have the jewelry makers in-house who are making the earrings and stringing everything into the patterns for the necklaces. So we have different sort of models of business depending on what makes sense for what's happening locally.
What's happening.
Yeah, and so different environments. Interestingly, in Akusi is near Tema, which, Akusi is getting closer to Odomasi Krobo, but a lot of the communities around, like north of Tema, have used to work at factories that made cloth or sewed items.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was kind of the environment that many were used to, is going into a place to work, not having their own shop. So that's what many of them wanted. They didn't want the responsibility of the rent and the light and the water. They wanted to come to a place and be able to go home at the end of the day.
Understand.
Yeah, so just different models. But regardless of the way the work gets done, everybody comes to the table. Like I said, when it comes to decision making, our philosophy is very much, if it impacts you, you should be at the table. Whoever is, if it's batikers, if it's seamstresses, it's important to us that those involved be a part of the decision making. So I think that's a pretty different approach to some, and again, that we're one term is vertically integrated at kind of all levels, from stamping the batik to marketing it in the US or Europe or Australia. We're all global mamas. We're not different brands chaining together. Does that make sense?
That totally. And I was like, and sorry if you're seeing me like get excited, I have huge notepads here. And so I'm like writing down feverishly. I'm like, okay, keep talking, all these things. I, first of all, love the fact that even starting out in 2003 with the 6 Ghanaian women and 2 American women, and American women come in and they're just like, this sounds great, we should do this. And they're just like, no. Yeah, we're not doing that. I love that, because this is not we're just going to show you how it works. You already have this talent. You already know what you need. It's about collaborating, and you've shown that. But this line, which I need to like hashtag it somehow, if it impacts you, you should be at the table. Mm-hmm. That's huge. And that is true collaboration at its best. That's amazing. And I'm glad that you said, because when we visited earlier and you mentioned vertical integration, I was just like, I kind of think I know what that means. I kind of have an idea, but to hear you like break it down, and first of all, I don't know how you keep all the things in your head, like, and over here, and then this is over here. Kudos to both of you for how you just know all those things off the top of your head. But to really see the breakdown of, like you said, the vertical integration, and that it's a collaboration, and that everyone has a voice. That's what we talk about at Amplify Live. Everyone has a voice, and that voice is valuable, and that voice is beautiful, and that voice is worthy, and that voice needs to be heard.
Yes.
And I love that. That's what you're doing with Global Mamas. You two were just chatting back and forth, and when you asked Patience about how many women are in Cape Coast, I thought she probably knows every single mama out there. So I want to talk to you, Patience, about your personal connection with the mamas, and how, because you also said that you do the training and quality, and I wanted to talk to you about your relationship with the mamas, and also how you've seen them change through the training that you've given.
Okay. So again, Global Mamas was built upon relationship. Mm-hmm. Every single mama across Ghana, I've had the opportunity to meet them, and then also know where they live, where their workshops are, their children, their husband, and then also we interact with them also through design competition. every year we launch design competition. We want the women's voice to be heard. For instance, this Pebble State that I'm holding was developed by Martha through design competition. And then we realized that this product will sell very well. We then gave her the order in a larger quantity, and then she produced it. This also Unity was also developed by Martha through design competition. And then we also launched it out to the world at large. And then she started getting more orders. We gave it to them. And then also we interact with them through Global Months of the Year. So every year they will nominate a person for an award. That's the overall best person among the existing. And then people from all the location will merge in the host location. And then we'll do celebration and recognize the Mama of the Year. And then we award the person as well. And then also talking about training, we give them training around business, creativity, computer, and then fair trade principle as well. So when they become a member, they don't know how to keep records. They don't even, their quality is local, it's not international. So once you become a member of Global Mamas, we add more value by teaching you how to do proper stitching so that your product can meet international standard. And then also, every business needs to keep records. That bookkeeping, you can't know the best selling of the month. So we give them the bookkeeping training, and then they'll go to their centers and then implement them. Every 3 months, we make a follow-up to see whether the knowledge was understood. If not, we will still help you to do the record, analyze your business transactions with you, and see how it is going. And then also, we give them health training. Every year, we come up with annual reports. So part of the question reads, what other training will you want Global Mamas to do for you? And then they will say kidney workshop, diabetes, malaria, nutrition. So we'll listen, and then we'll partner with local doctor or our volunteers or Maristos, and then we'll carry the training out for them. The recent health training that we did with them is pregnancy-related, pregnancy and delivery. When these women heard this, they were so amazed. Knowing this knowledge, it was a thrill to them. So they were able to move from emergency healthcare to a preventive healthcare. And that is an added value that we add to these women. Not only that, computer training. You agree with me that for me to reach out to my customer in US or Europe, there is a need for me to know computer, how to send emails, how to use Excel, how to use Facebook, how to use other programs on computer. So we do training for all the women across Ghana. And then now they can even sell on Facebook. They can also exchange emails with customers across the globe. And the changing is so phenomenal. It's so great that we can't even, the time wouldn't permit us to share. Now, the bookkeeping, able to recruit young girls from their communities, give them training as well so that they can also be part of Global Mass family. And then they are also able to produce high quality for their customers in abroad. They are able to take the nutrition health workshop that we give it to them, implement them in their various homes, now eating better as compared to previously not eating a balanced diet. But now with the health workshop, they are able to eat a balanced diet, and then they are able to give the same knowledge to their children and their friends in the community as a whole.
That is, so first of all, I love gardening and helping people learn about good stuff. So I'm all over the health and nutrition training. And what I love about what you just said goes back to what Alice mentioned, if it impacts you, you should be at the table. And so
Right.
for them to read the survey and just say, and you ask them because you really want to know, what else would you like to know about? And for them to say, oh, we really want to know about health, nutrition, and for you to put together this whole program, again, speaks to the collaboration, the relationships that you've built. And I firmly believe that you know every mama, where they live, all their family, all those things. But that builds, that's how this works, right? Because you are a family.
Right.
And in fair trade, we are a family. And so, and continuing that relationship is huge. I love the health component. I love that because that is, like you said, you're adding a value beyond computer training, beyond all those other things. You're actually adding value not only to the business, but you're adding value to their life because they're healthy, they're out there, they're working, they're passing that on to their families and communities. So I love that. I had to write all that down because that is just amazing to me. So as we're talking about this relationship with fair trade and this collaborative effort, you know, with other shows and the things that we've been working on, we've talked about the Universal Challenge and cautiously approaching, I like to say, the subject of, which is kind of what's talking about in the world right now, systemic racism. But I want to shift that and talk about how what you've done, how you've implemented the fair trade principles, and like you said, even a different model within fair trade that you have has really worked to change the narrative. And I truly believe, just from all the things I've read, from following you, from learning from you now, you are breaking that cycle, which I just kind of, I'm not going to talk more because I'm going to cry about it. So, but I want to ask you, Alice, can you speak to how do you use your platform? Because we talked about the vertical integration, we talked about the collaboration part, but there's so much more to Global Mamas than just that. How do you use your platform to really push that initiative forward? And as I said, completely breaking that cycle.
Mm-hmm. It's such a complex question.
I know. And so don't feel like you have to, we're not going to do it all in one day, but there's a couple things that we've talked about that I just, I would love for you to share.
Yes. And I think I'm so glad that you're having these conversations, especially within the fair trade mini universe.
Yes, our little hub.
As we know, I mean, fair trade as a institution is not without its flaws, right? I mean, it
100%.
has some challenging histories in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that I think hopefully more and more people in the community are becoming more aware of.
Mm-hmm.
And what I really like to look at is, while institutionally it might have challenges, practitioners, right? Like with everything, let's look at the ground level and see what's actually being done.
Right.
And like with intention versus impact and all of this.
Mm-hmm.
At Global Mamas, we call ourselves impact nerds. Because if we're not, as an organization, if we're not seeing the impact, then why are we doing what we're doing, right?
Exactly.
And the principles of fair trade at its core are really practices that were in play in communities around the world pre-colonialism, right? I mean, these concepts of fair wages and empowering communities and respecting cultural identity, this is innately what we do within our community, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So fair trade endeavors to revisit that, right? To go back to those important spaces. And we're not perfect. We're always working to be there. And I think some of the things that Global Mamas is doing within our space and how we work, I think really, again, focuses on transparency, that everyone at every level knows what's going on. And I mean, even as far as we have a report that we print that says how much you get paid for anything that we make.
Wow.
So you can come in and say, okay, for this print, this person's making this much, and for this print, I'm making this much, and compare. So it's not, there's no hidden secret. This person's making more than me. It's okay, well, this is why, because it's a more complicated color or pattern. And so that transparency piece, I think, is critical to who we are. And then again, that collaboration piece, that there is space for everybody at the table, and being very intentional about our leadership team being, you know, the American co-founders, yes, are on it, but Patience is part of the leadership team. All of our production managers are part of the leadership team. The woman who runs our store is part of the leadership team. So kind of, you know, all of the leaders at the different locations are coming and bringing the concerns from their locations. Our design team, when I started at Global Mamas, we didn't have a design team.
Oh, well, that's a shift.
We just kind of made it up as we went. But then when I started, you know, so we had an American designer and that was it. But now our design team is 2 Americans and 3 Ghanaians. So
Wow.
it's not about, well, this is the American way, we're going to do it this way. It's about, we all have skills and talents and ideas that we can bring, and together we can find a way forward. I feel like, I'm sure there's so many more people.
No, I love what you just said right there. Everyone has space. There's a place for everyone. And one of the things we talked about, well, 2 things we talked about that I just thought was so impactful and it really stayed with me, and both of you mentioned this, was we're not here to empower, but we provide a platform for empowered women.
Yes.
And when you said that, and then in Patience, you shared a couple of things, I was just like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's where it is, and not making a pity buy. And could you maybe touch on that just a little bit, either you or Patience, because I think that's important for us to talk about as we're talking about all these other different things that are issues. But I think within that, we are making strides to, as you said, do better and grow.
Agreed. And so I think what I'd really like to share on the pity buy is, I think a lot within this, you know, the space of fair trade is I can buy this and help the person, right? And sure, maybe there's some level of that, but ultimately, if Patience can tell you, the mamas in Ghana, they want you to buy the product because you love it and think it's beautiful, because it's something they've made with pride and talent. I mean, the mamas that we work with, like we said, they're business owners. We're not coming and saying, you know, do it this way, you run your business.
Right.
and we're going to work together as a partner, right, to provide the sustainable work. So they are business owners. These are empowered women who are magnifying what they do by employing more women. And you know, Patience can add more into that too. But the pity buy thing has always struck me, because when you come into a fair trade store like 10,000 Villages, the first thing that catches your eye is the product. It's
100%.
It's not the story of the woman who made it or the man who made it. It's not the price, even, because the price tag's tiny. You say, wow, that's beautiful. And that's what we, as all of Global Mamas, want, is for you to say, wow, that is a beautiful product. It fits amazing. The quality is incredible. And I want to buy more because of that.
Right.
Awesome. The price is affordable. Fantastic. Because that's also a challenge in the fair trade world, is things get more expensive. So we try to keep our prices as reasonable as we can. And then that story is that extra piece that you're like, amazing. And you look at the tag and you can see that Mary and Alice, and there's an Alice in Cape Coast, who's my dear friend. So Mary and Alice and Esther, it shows the name of the batiker, the seamstress, and the QC person. And you can look them up on our website and get to know their story. And
I've done that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Email. So I just think it is important to us, and I think fair trade artisan makers around the world, that you're buying the products because you love them, and then you'll buy more. I'm
glad we talked. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that. And then there's a thing that a Patience you mentioned about first class, first time. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So first class, first time was introduced around 2016, when all the mamas, seamstresses, and batikers came together. And then Global Mamas was going to present a problem. And the woman said, look, everything that we do for us to get first class, first time for batiking is within our control. 10% are not within our control, like using the dye, raining, and then not testing the dye sometimes can fail you. So they say for batikers, if I achieve 90%, give me a bonus. And when you run the report and you say Martha got a bonus of 1,000 Ghana cedis or like $500, she's so happy. She will come to office and jubilate. Hey, I've gotten a bonus. Yeah. And then seamstress also said, everything that we do for jumpsuit dress is within our control. Like examine the cloth, cutting it according to specification are within our control, so 100%. If I'm able to produce 20 pieces of jumpsuit, first class, first time, I should be given a bonus. And bonus is calculated at the end of each month. And it is classes based. And these women, they are so proud that at the end of each month, she will produce the highest quality and get first class, first time, and get a bonus, which is so happy. So they use this bonus to cover their transportation. They use this bonus to pay allowances to their workers as well for helping them to meet a deadline. So that is their first class, first time.
And so Patience, what was the original problem that was brought to the table?
Yes.
So the problem was that we were having rejects of 6,600 Ghana cedis, which is like 600 or $700. And then we were like, what we have been producing, all of this are locking up capital. And then the woman said, we can't watch for Global Mass to operate that way. Then let us introduce first class, first time. That is why we do have first class, first time in the system now. And then at the end of each month, we give them a feedback of what went on well and what did not go well. So that if you are a seamstress and you got a reject, with the feedback the champions are giving you, you'll be able to adjust and then produce first class, first time for Global Mass or for your customers next time. The same applies to batikers. The champions will give them feedback and then they will also improve upon their output in the next month so that they can produce quality for their customers in abroad. That was the problem that we presented.
That is so cool. I mean, you saw a problem, collaborated, worked together, created a solution. And like you said, you have this platform of not empowering, but a platform for women who are already empowered. You said hey, we're already business owners. We got it. We know what we're doing.
And it really,
I love about that.
Was in that space to bring the problem and say, how do we solve this together? Like it is a problem that impacts all of us. Yes. And we were, at a place where we had shelves just overflowing with rejected fabric. And when the fabric runs out, we have set cycles where it's delivered to us from our team in India. And so if we're out of fabric and it's just sitting in reject cloth, then no one has work. And so, just to be able to say, we don't know how to solve this. I'm not at the workshop making the batik every day. So what do you see as the solution? And as Patience said, the women came with the solutions. The mamas were ready and they knew how to do it. I mean, they're business owners. They know what needs to be done to achieve equality. And it was pretty. They are. And to see the shift overnight. I mean, because a reject cloth, the pay scale is different. So if you're getting reject cloth, you're getting a little less money. But if you're getting 100% first class, not only do you get the full pay for that, but then you get a bonus on top.
So it's okay. That's
Yeah, it was
amazing
great.
because they know who they are, they know who their product is. I want to break really quickly for our viewers and those listening in. If you do have questions, feel free to drop them in on Facebook. We will take a few questions at the end. We're going to move through just a few more things. We talked about the challenges and how the women have come together to face those. We do have one big challenge now that I would love for you guys to touch on just briefly to talk about where you are with it. And that is, of course, how you're moving forward in the terms of everything with the pandemic that's happening. Because I know a lot of people love you that know about Global Mamas and they want to make sure that you're all doing well. So we want to touch on that really quickly.
Right. So our most challenging is drop in sales. Because of the global pandemic, our sales has reduced drastically. Mm-hmm. Knowing very well that stores have closed, airports have closed, now we can't ship. Right. And that is affecting our producers as well. But now we are trying to do online navigating, whereby we are selling or creating awareness about the product that we have online, about the product that we have at our warehouse. And also that means that since sales have reduced, others are not coming. So the mamas are also getting reduced orders. But we've tried to get what they call face masks to keep them busy so that they can cover their livelihood as we are going through the global pandemic.
Okay. So we will touch on that. If you have any questions, like I said, put those in. I know that we have our amazing creative director, Sarah, on the end there. He'll take questions and pop those in. So I will check in on those. But while those are coming in, we've got to talk about your amazing products because I'm surrounded by Global Mamas. I'm wearing Global Mamas. I'm surrounded by Global Mamas. I got Global Mamas pet stuff everywhere. So we'll just pick one or two things to talk about. And so I have on one of the dresses. So if you guys, which I am in a precarious situation and can't stand up, but we will show the full dress at the end. But would you want to talk about just this amazing, the sister's dress here?
Yes.
And I also love that I have my tag that shows who made it. So yes.
So Patience, I think, aside from saying that this has been our best-selling dress for many years, the Ellie dress, what else can we share about the makers of the batik and the product?
Yeah, Sister, the print is called Sisters. Mm-hmm. And there are other people who are also producing them. So she has been able to educate all her children to university level. When we met her, her children were very young. They were in primary school. Mm-hmm. But now, with the income or steady orders that she gets from Global Mamas, she has been able to educate her children to university. One of them is even working. And then she says that I am patient. I am running my home. With the money that she gets, she has been able to also put up a home for her family, and now they are living comfortably in it. Mm-hmm. Her plan is that she'll be able to put on an apartment or flat for renting so that she can also gain additional income apart from Global Mamas. And one thing that we should know is that Global Mamas is non-profit making organization, mm-hmm. non-governmental organization. So these women really, really are making incredible, they are making amazing things. What somebody who went through formal education cannot do, the women are able to do them because they can rely on Global Mamas, they can depend on Global Mamas for mm-hmm. orders and steady income, and the payment is paid in bulk. Global Mamas doesn't say that wait for your product to be sold before you get paid. No, we even paid before the product is sold, mm-hmm. and they are so proud about that, and many more. And then with the seamstress, she has been able to expand her business by buying industrial machine. She was working from home, but now she has rented. She has her own store, working mm-hmm. from there as well, with 5 apprentices and 2 workers. So it's really helping us in Africa specifically.
That is amazing. And what I love is like I showed my little card, and every time someone comes into 10,000 Villages and they get something with Global Mamas, I said, hey, look at the back of your tag. Do you know you can actually go and interact with the mamas? And so just look up the name and then go to the website. And I think that's so great because now I know that, of course, I'm wearing this dress. I love this dress, but I have this beautiful connection with the women who made this dress. And to know that in some way I've contributed to them being successful just by supporting them because of the quality of work. Because when I saw this dress, I was like, that dress is mine. That dress is happening right now. So, I love this dress so much. And I love that we can connect and share those stories because I think it's important that we do connect the consumer to the product, to the person behind the product, because that person does have a story. So quickly, I have two of the amazing Slim Down the men's shirts, or I guess anybody, I've worn them, so I guess anybody can wear them. But and again, names are on the back so I can see who's made them. Can we talk about how, because we were so excited when these came in the store, I was like, yes.
And I do. And sort of, so to the aspect, so as Patience said, of course, we have the amazing artisan partners who craft these. But as you know, for my design team, I want to give them a shout out too. Just the amazing amount of work that goes into getting a product from trend to idea to sample to photo to product into production and sold in a store. Imagine. You know, there's so much work that goes into that. And the design team starts about a year to a year and a half out.
Up close.
Yes. And so this is Kakum, the print, which was named after the rainforest in Ghana, which Kakum Forest. And it's an amazing place to visit if you ever come to Ghana. But so there's so many brains that go into this. I want to give a shout out to Nick, who is one of our designers, and he is a super talented batik designer and works with the artisans directly to develop the beautiful prints that you're seeing. It's incredible to see the process. Again, the collaboration, ideas from the design team members, ideas from the mamas, ideas from volunteers, all pooled together to come, into this cohesive collection. And the Slim Fit shirt is an exciting piece because Nick, who is definitely a trendier looking individual, then we had our button down shirt, which is a more classic boxy shirt, which, there's certainly a customer for that, but he was like, but I can't wear that shirt. He's like, it doesn't, it's falling off my shoulders. And so he really worked hard to develop this nicely fitted shirt that, as you mentioned, looks great on anybody.
Yeah, it really does. It's
an awesome shirt. So I just love that all of the different stories and talents that go into making each of the products we have. Awesome. And even the stories of the mud cloth print and the Kakum, that, just all of the elements of Ghanaian culture and beauty that are being pulled in as well.
Which I just think is, again, such an important thing to mention when consumers are shopping fair trade, is that they learn about the person behind the product as well, so they can even be more connected. And we have a question that's come in, which is one that I really want to take because you just talked about the masks, Patience. So one of the questions says, can you tell us about the masks that are made for the local communities in Ghana? So talk to us about that process a little bit. And if you want to hang with us a little bit, we have about 5 minutes or so left in the show, but I really wanted to get that question in because that's where you guys are working with now. So can you tell us about the masks? Patience, can you hear me okay?
No, please. Can you repeat yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a question about the mask that you're making, the face mask. Are they available? Okay. Yeah, are they available online, and how does that work?
Yeah, they are available online. In US, we've received 2,300 requests from our customers. And then EU, Germany is also being sold by our partner in EU. So you can visit www.globalmass.org and then place order with our wholesale in USA, or visit Gabi Hand Trade and then place your request with Hand Trade in Germany.
Perfect.
And then locally, I'd like to add that we actually started out this venture for dissemination locally.
Yes.
So they were, the original batch we made were for our family. Everybody in Global Mamas got face masks at no cost, their first 2. And then we did thankfully receive some grants from through USAID and a German organization, GIZ. We've been able to use that funding to minimize our expenses of producing them so that they can be sold at a much more reasonable price in the local communities. We're trying to reach out to local hospitals and different areas and communities that maybe don't have access to better healthcare. And so right now, that's our goal. I know Marie Stopes, who we partner with in Ghana to do health education and women's health.
Great.
They've purchased, how many did they purchase, Pat?
Marie Stopes purchased like 7,500, and then Wabik purchased like 10,000.
That's amazing. That was going to be my question, was when you said locally, I thought, if you're reaching out to the other communities. So I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, so that was our primary focus, and then now that we've been able to meet those needs, we were able to export some as well.
Yes, that's awesome. And I also love the fact that we say like, okay, how are we going to pivot when this whole pandemic happened? How are we going to pivot to make this take care of our family, but also to keep in? And so this has been an incredible way to do that in creating the mask. We have just a few minutes left, and I want to say thank you so much, because I truly could talk to you for just hours and learn so much more. And I know there's so much more that we didn't dive into in terms of like collaborating with other fair trade retailers like 10,000 Villages, like Ganesh Hamal, those organizations, which we're so grateful to have you all as artisan partners and family. And that has just been a huge eye-opening thing for me to learn about you today, about Global Mamas, about the history, talking with both of you. I feel so much more connected now, not just wearing my dress there, but I feel so much more connected to both of you and to the organization. And really quickly, shout out again your website so everyone can hear it. We'll do a follow-up post with everything, but I want everyone to hear where they can go, because they know they can shop in store with us at 10,000 Villages, but you also have incredible items online as well.
Yes. So it's www.globalmamas.org. And everything's on there, our stories, our products, the mamas. And I just want to add, Takia, as you mentioned, the retailers, they are so much an important part of our community. And I just want to say thank you, because that connection piece, like you said, we feel connected to our customers and the mamas, and our customers are mostly retail partners. And the retailers like 10,000 Villages and our friends all over the United States and Europe and Australia, you are the ones who then build the connection from the customer all the way back to the organization and the artisan partners.
Right. We're trying.
So thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for connecting us. Thank you, Ganesh Hamal, for providing this opportunity. Without customers knowing that we're out here and what we're doing, we wouldn't exist. So we're grateful for you all and these opportunities.
Well, I just have to say thank you again to both of you. Thank you, Patience, for joining us live from Ghana and just taking the time and sticking with us and sharing so much of the history. And like I said when we talked earlier, I could just come and follow you and learn. Just learn from you. So I need to get a group together to come to Ghana for sure. But we want to say to our viewers, to those listening in, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Amplify Live. This is what this show is all about. We are working to bring these voices to the forefront so that you can learn about organizations like Global Mamas so that you can get more involved in fair trade, because we know that when you do, we know that when you support organizations like Global Mamas, you are changing the narrative, you are changing the way we do business. And so that is what we are all about. If you have any other questions, feel free to send them in. And I think what we can do is probably gather those together and maybe get those to either Patience or Alice and get those questions answered. Be sure to visit Global Mamas at www.globalmamas.org. And until next time, I'll see you then. Thank you both so much. This has been a great show. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Takia. Bye, Patience.
Bye, Patience. Bye, Alice. Thank you so much. Hey, Amplifiers. Are you enjoying the content? Interested in learning more? We are too. Did you know this is a volunteer-run show? That's right. From content creation to marketing and everything in between. Right now, it's done as a labor of love. Please consider donating to help continue to amplify the voices of our audience and change the business narrative. Visit ccn.amplifylive on Facebook to donate.